fellow MPs turn on Hackney's Diane Abbott after she tweets controversial comments about white people.
I think what Diane Abbott said was just a stupid and crass generalisation.
The comments are completely unacceptable, and Ed Miliband made that clear to her in no uncertain terms this morning.
She has said sorry, but is her apology enough for her to keep her job? Hackney's MP Diane Abbott is tonight at the centre of a race row after she tweeted comments about white people. The Shadow Health Minister has said that she's sorry about posting on her Twitter account, "White people love to play divide and rule. We should not play their game." The Deputy Prime Minister said she'd made a stupid and crass generalisation, and even her own party called her comments wrong. As Emma Walden now reports.
She's known for being outspoken and forthright, and once again comments made by Diane Abbott have caused controversy and mounting criticism of the Shadow Minister for Public Health. Responding to a tweet which questioned the use of the term black community in an all-encompassing sense, Ms Abbott tweeted, "I understand the cultural point you are making, but you are playing into a divide and rule agenda." She went on, "White people love playing divide and rule. We should not play their game." And in another tweet said ethnic communities that show more public solidarity and unity than black people do much better. Her divide and rule comments drew immediate criticism.
I think what Diane Abbott said was just a stupid and crass generalisation. She should explain and apologise for what she said.
An explanation was offered when Ms Abbott was questioned by Sky News, but no apology.
Well, I was actually referring to the nature of 19th century European colonialism, but that's a bit much again to 140 characters.
But if you look at it out of context, saying white people love to divide and rule is a pretty controversial remark if people don't see it in context. Do you accept that it was not a wise thing to put out there?
I think the tweet was taken out of context, and some people have interpreted it maliciously.
The MP then seemed to be saved by the bell, receiving a phone call thought to be from her boss, Ed Miliband, mid-interview.
Actually meant by the comment? Sure.
Can I just...
By midday, though, written statements from her and her party. Issuing a statement from their headquarters here on Victoria Street today, the Labour Party said, "We disagree with Diane's tweet. It is wrong to make sweeping generalisations about any race, creed or culture. The Labour Party has always campaigned against such behaviour, and so has Diane Abbott." Diane Abbott went on to make her own statement too, saying, "I understand people have interpreted my comments as making generalisations about white people. I do not believe in doing that, and I apologise for any offence caused." This is not the first time Diane Abbott has courted controversy. Just 18 months ago, she was grilled by Andrew Neil about comments made when defending her decision to send her son to private school.
You said, quote, "West Indian mums will go to the wall for their children. So black mothers love their kids more than white."
Andrew, we've just had, I think, one of the most important budgets in a generation. I've said everything I'm going to say about where I sent my son to school.
No, I'm not. That's what I want to. I don't understand this quote.
No.
Supposing Michael had said, "White mums will go to the wall for their children."
Andrew, I've got nothing new to say.
Meanwhile, a mixed reaction in Diane Abbott's constituency today.
Not all white people love to divide them people like that, so it's kind of like the comment. I wouldn't appreciate that, and especially to come from someone like, if someone random said that, I wouldn't like it. For someone like her to say it shouldn't really be said.
In the position she's in?
Yeah, obviously.
That message, I think, was intended to go to black people to stand up together and not put each other down, as a positive message, not against anybody else. It's to black people to stick together.
So it's the phrasing of it, perhaps, rather than the...
It was misinterpreted, I think, by some people who don't understand. You really would need to be a black person and be in certain situations to understand what she meant by that, and I really do understand what she meant.
Views from Hackney ending Emma Walden's report there. We have asked Diane Abbott's office for an interview several times today, but we were told she was too busy. However, a little earlier I did speak to the Chief Executive of the Race Equality Foundation, Ratna Dutt, and I began by asking her, quite simply, what she made of Miss Abbott's comments.
When I finally kind of saw it, I thought it was inappropriate for her to have said it, because gross generalisations about all white people It seemed more than slightly inappropriate. And I guess somebody in the public eye, I should be more careful about what they say, how they say, where they say it. Because in some ways it almost seems to be the nature of Twitter that people come out and say all sorts of things that you would expect them not to say. So I guess my first reaction was it was inappropriate and she shouldn't have said it.
You say that she's in the public eye. I mean, she is a shadow cabinet minister. How surprised are you that she's still in her job this evening?
Well, do you know, this business about whether she should or shouldn't lose her job, I don't feel I should comment about that. I'm sure the Labour Party will know what to do and what they should do about whether she should continue to stay or not stay.
All right, we'll put it this way then. If someone in your organisation, the Race Equality Foundation, had made that sort of tweet, would you have kept them on?
Well, I would certainly have spoken to them and found out what they'd said. I would have found out what the context is within which they said it before I make a final judgment about whether they should still continue to work for me or not. And I would judge them based on other things that they've done. So one has to judge Diane Abbott as well, based on what is known about her, what the issues she's dealt with in the past and what she has done. So I think you need to look at it within a context, and I do feel that needs to be done.
Isn't it fair to say, though, that if the context had been similar, but someone had made a similar comment about black people, that black people like to divide and rule, they would have been sacked without question, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know, depending on where they were, whether they would or wouldn't have been sacked. But I think in the same way, is if somebody white said something which was a gross generalisation and a stereotypical comment, then we would check it. We would say, well, that was completely inappropriate, in the same way that I'm saying to you now that what Diane said was completely inappropriate.
The reaction would have been fiercer across the board. There's little doubt about that, surely.
Well, I think from some of the tweets and some of the comments from even what I've said, which I think I've not said very much at all, have actually been fairly fierce when I've not actually made a lot of comment, apart from saying I think what she said was gross generalisation. So it almost appears that some people are expecting me to say either way whether it's terrible or it's not terrible. What I'm saying is what she says is inappropriate, and that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I think people will say it to you because of your organisation is about race equality, and that is a principle. The way that this is treated, the reaction to this, the principle is at risk if we don't get it right, surely.
The principle is always at risk. But you see, what my worry about this is, and that's why I think, apart from it being inappropriate, it's completely the wrong time. When we are now, everybody's talking about what happened yesterday with Stephen Lawrence's killers, and where we're all talking about progressing race equality. And in my organisation, that's our business, progressing race equality. I guess a comment like that, which then people spend lots of time talking about, in fact, distracts from the main issue. So in that sense, I think it's inappropriate, and it allows the conversation to go in a particular way, which I don't find very helpful, because really in relation to race equality, we know from what happened yesterday that things have moved such a long way, but there is a long way to go. And what I don't want is something like this to stop that happening.
Ratna Dutt of the Race Equality Foundation speaking to me a little earlier. Well, most people would agree that Diane Abbott's comments have proved controversial. But do you think she was right? Or do you think that she was so wrong that her apology simply isn't enough and she should be sacked? And would your opinion be different if someone had made similar comments about black people? There have been calls for Diane Abbott, the Labour MP for Hackney, to resign after she made controversial comments on Twitter. She said, white people love to play divide and rule. We should not play their game. While she has apologised for any offence caused, the Deputy Prime Minister said her comments were stupid.
I think what Diane Abbott said was just a stupid and crass generalisation. She should explain and apologise for what she said.
OK, so we heard Nick Clegg's view there. What about yours? Hello to Nigel Nash. No matter what race you are, you can't say or do anything in this broken society of ours. It's getting slightly ridiculous now, he says. Thank you to Sue Morris, who got in touch. Lots of comments tonight, I have to say. Sack her, and it has no way been taken out of context. She should be setting an example instead of creating the next riot. Elaine Sills, hello to you. She was trying to be clever, but clever she is not, just very trying. Hello to Dave in Hertfordshire. Being white, he says, if I'd said what Diane Abbott said about black people, I'd be arrested and charged with racism. Thank you, Robert, who got in touch from Stratford to say she's in the shadow cabinet and should resign immediately. Not much support for Miss Abbott here. Hello to Nicola from Ware in Hertfordshire. What Diane Abbott said was wrong, and as a black person, I don't support her view. However, Luis Suarez and Tiger Woods' caddy all made racist remarks against black people in the public eye, and their actions are quickly forgotten. Not quite so sure about Luis Suarez there, but it's all racism supporting racism, she says. It all needs to stop. And finally, from Terry in Brentwood, hello to you. I'm afraid she should fall on her sword or be sacked. Thank you for all those, and there were plenty more.
The Shadow Health Minister Diane Abbott was rebuked by her own party today and then apologised after she wrote on Twitter that white people love to divide and rule. She claimed her comments had been taken out of context and that she wasn't making generalisations about white people. Paul Davis has been looking at what she said.
As the first black woman to enter the Commons, Diane Abbott has campaigned for equality and against prejudice for many years. But remarks made by the MP on Twitter, in which she said white people love playing divide and rule, we should not play their game, have had some people accusing her of using language that associates a person's behaviour with their colour. Diane Abbott was giving an interview to Sky Television, contending that those remarks had been used out of context when she took a call from her boss, Ed Miliband, who let her know that he also found the tweet unacceptable.
Hi. Can I just...
An apology was then issued on her behalf, saying, I understand people have interpreted my comments as making generalisations about white people. I do not believe in doing that. I apologise for any offence caused.
The Labour Party distanced itself from Diane Abbott's remarks. We know Ed Miliband let his Shadow Health Minister know such comments would be unacceptable. But while one Tory backbencher called for her resignation, the Deputy Prime Minister seemed to be suggesting that an apology would suffice.
I think what Diane Abbott said was just a stupid and crass generalisation. She should explain and apologise for what she said.
Having done just that, Diane Abbott will hope this storm blows away now. She joins a growing list of politicians, footballers and celebrities who've discovered that an ill-judged tweet can soon come back to haunt them. Paul Davis, ITV News.